Namaste. Today, when I opened my WhatsApp in the morning, I found out that it is International Clinical Trials Day 2020. It becomes more so relevant that in this year we all are dealing with a huge health problem called as coronavirus infection. And that is why we all have read in the newspapers, have seen many videos and many messages come around that this clinical trial is going on, vaccine is being prepared, or plasma therapy is going on, or cytokine therapy is going on. So I thought I would like to share some of the basic information about clinical trials. As a physician myself, I would like to share with people as well as with my fellow doctors, because there are some aspects about this clinical trial thing which we all need to introspect and try to simplify or try to correlate with our own history. Not only the history related to our religions, but also the history of the process of human evolution. So just first thing, most important thing, what exactly is a clinical trial? Now, as the word suggests, trial means to try. What are we trying? We are trying a method or a medicine for clinical purpose. Clinical means, as you all know, clinic means the patients, they visit clinic for their symptoms and their diseases. So clinical trial is something which deals with the treatment of symptoms or diseases. A new method is being evaluated in the clinical trial. Okay, so a new method in the form of any intervention like surgery or anything else, like angioplasty, or maybe neuro intervention, or it may be a medicine, pharmaceutical agent, or it may be stem cell therapy, or it may be a plasma therapy, or anything. Okay, so who exactly do participate in these clinical trials? So patients who are having diseases and want to seek a better treatment, but the better treatment is not yet established and it needs to be evaluated. In that case, patients and participants are decided by inclusion and exclusion criteria by the clinicians, and finally they are divided into 2 or 3 arms, in which one is the new drug or new method, then another one is well established method, and the third one may or may not be, it may be a placebo method. So that is how a clinical trial is basically run. Now, as a layperson, everybody would like to know that what are the risks or what are the benefits of entering into clinical trials. What do you think? I think that all of us know that risk is risk of the unknown. Correct? Unknown, the treatment is unknown. Treatment is a new method. It has not yet been established. That is why we don't know whether it will benefit or not, whether it is having more harmful effects than the previously established treatment. Now, what are the benefits? If it is a new method, potentially it is going to be superior method. There might be benefits in the form of survival, there might be benefits in the form of cure, but we do not know. Sometimes the volunteers are given monetary benefits as well. Overall, the benefit may be to the future generation, where because of the experiments like this, overall in future better methods of treatment for many diseases can come up. So many a times patients enter considering that it is their responsibility to help the next generation. That's a very divine cause to enter into clinical trials. Now, how to protect? Many patients they participate, many volunteers they participate, in that there should be some safety, correct? So government and the medical bodies, they have to protect the safety of participants by helping them to drop out at any time, by allowing the formation of laws which help to maintain the transparency in clinical trials. Where exactly, if we want the information about clinical trials, where do we get it? Various governments and various government agencies, health ministries and various organizations from the government side, they create online digital registers where all the clinical trials which are running all across the planet, country wise or maybe the whole world's database also we can avail. I will provide in the information section of this video with few of the clinical trial registries. Okay, now coming to why we celebrate International Clinical Trials Day and what is the historical significance of this. James Lind, Scottish neurosurgeon, he was the pioneer of naval hygiene in Royal Navy. He conducted apparently the first ever known clinical trial in 1747. Many of you might be knowing that he used citrus based fruits like lemon, orange as treatment for scurvy, that is vitamin C deficiency, for the people on the ships. But on digging about this concept, this treatment, I came to know that John Woodall, born in 1570, was the visitor to India from British East India Company, and he was the first person to tell about anti-scorbutic effects of citrus fruits. But his idea was scrapped by the medical people at that time, and that is why after many years Lind was successfully able to conduct a clinical trial and help his fellow Navy men. He was actually a surgeon. It's interesting to see that he was a surgeon and he had immense interest. However, there were no super specialties at that time and anybody could do anything. And especially I will go into the details of this, that even if he was a surgeon, he was having huge interest in preventing the disease rather than treating the disease. But sadly, nowadays we are more and more interested in learning more about rarest of the rare interventions and trying to use technology to the greatest level, thinking that we are doing great treatments. However, we have to honestly introspect and accept it that we are forgetting the preventive medicine. We think that preventive medicine is just the responsibility of MD preventive social medicine. No, it is the responsibility of each and every human being on this planet. Not only doctors, but each and every human being on this planet. Why we are facing all these problems? Because of super specialty, we have zoomed in so much that we lose the big picture. So what I personally feel is that if we have to make our mark as doctors in the truest sense possible, then we have to learn to save lives not only by treating the damage, but we have to actively participate, actively lead to prevent the damage which happens because of many wrong habits, many wrong practices happening in the society. So here I would like to just give you the glimpse of what exactly is the current scenario, what exactly is the current understanding of the clinical trials which are being run in the 21st century. This is a very harsh observation which has been made. The research has been done by many patient oriented agencies, and I will attach TED talk of this information which was published in 2016. And through this we would like to understand that how clinical trials can create biased information. The ultimate goal of clinical trials is to help the patients recover faster, to have a cure, to have a longer survival. But because of our selfish reasons, there are many things which happen. One of the things which happens is 50% results of the clinical trials are not at all published. That is the recent data, and many results are not published for years and years together, considering that the results were not favorable to the investment which was done in the clinical trials. Example, there is a drug called as Tamiflu. All of you might be knowing, or if you go and search, it is an antiviral agent, and about 480 million pounds were spent by the British government because of the influence. And however, it came to know that the drug is not so effective in preventing or in treating the flu. So as we know, lot of money, lot of time and lot of resources are used in conducting a clinical trial, which creates some sort of attachment to the results, and that is why there is potential for bias. Now let us come and think about the people, the patients, the participants who participate in these clinical trials. You know, they are great. Why? Because they know that the results may not be in favor of their own disease or their own problems, but they participate considering the risks of many unknown side effects of the drugs, side effects of the treatment. They just do it because they want to help the future generation. And what does the trial do? If the trial results are not published, it means that whatever suffering they have gone through is useless because the results are not published. Now, when the patient oriented agencies, they conducted various register entries, and they saw through the register entries, and they tried to find out, they found out that the clinical trial results which were positively oriented to the industry were published 2 times more than the results which were negatively oriented. For example, if a drug is useful, then more and more clinical trials favoring that drug and favoring the results of the drug are published, rather than if a drug is not useful, then in that sense that clinical trial results are not at all published, or else they are published half the times of the drugs which are found useful in the clinical trials. That is how we know that the clinical trial results which come out are biased, and for this we need strict laws, not only by the government agencies of each and every country, but there should be an international law for all the trial results to be published. Now, as many of you know, that I am into yoga practice and I treat my patients with yoga. Many a times I am successful in preventing spine surgeries in the patients who require spine surgery with the help of practice of yoga. So when the yogi inside me sees all these things, I understand few things. I will come back to James Lind. I have immense respect for this person. Hats off to you, sir. Because he, being a surgeon, was predominantly working on preventive medicine. Today, we glorify that we have done this complicated surgery, that complicated surgery. Oh, I have done this minimally invasive surgery and all these things. But do we really try to find out a way that can prevent a surgery? That is one. Another thing is that we are attached to our specialty so much that we just try to glorify it by saying that this is very difficult, this is that, and we just tell that, oh, it is so complicated. All these things we tell, and we try to just glorify ourselves. There is a word for that in yoga. It's called ego, ahankar. And when I see this, I feel that the most of the researches are ego driven rather than being trying to do the research in the form of selfless manner. James Lind, who conducted the first clinical trial, was looking selfless, and he did not have desire to be a great surgeon. Rather than he had the desire to be a great human being, where he was trying to find solutions of the problems of his own countrymen who were serving their country selflessly, risking their lives in the ocean, not only with respect to the weather, but also with respect to the nutritional deficiencies which they had. And mind you, because of James Lind's contribution, the British Navy was far superior to the French Navy. And not only he had prevented scurvy, he prevented many infections like typhus, and he had developed many hygienic principles. He had developed techniques to distill water and create distilled water from the sea water, so that there is no dehydration as well. Coming back to the principle of yoga, we all know that there are demonic qualities within us. In yogic literature, it is called as Shad Ripus: Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Lobha, Matsarya. Many of our intentions work through these kind of negative emotions. And then we have divine qualities as well. And one of the most important divine qualities is compassion, karuna. Compassion means we feel for the other person, we feel the pain of the other person, and through that we try to solve their problems selflessly. So let us think that we find preventive measures to many of the problems in the patients. We try to decrease their pain as much as possible. And as a practitioner of yoga since last around 20 years, I have seen that yoga has great potential to prevent the damage to the body, damage to the mind, which is very dangerous, and damage to the spirit within us. With that understanding, I greet all of you. Happy International Clinical Trials Day, and wish that all of us work towards the goal of preventing illnesses in the society, in addition to our super specialty knowledge of treating them in beautiful manners with the help of modern technology. Let us join the hands along with the nature so that we heal the patient rather than only treat the disease. I will just end with one simple understanding of mine, where when I look back, when people argue that what is there in naturopathy, what is there in Ayurveda, what is there in homeopathy, what is there in many of the acupressure, acupuncture. Our ancestors did not have modern technology, yet they survived, yet they flourished, yet they developed a system of medicine which continues to exist. They did not have access to internet, they did not have any kind of a formal education also, but it was continuous trial and error, and then learning process, observation and inference through the results of the treatment which they gave in the form of herbs, in the form of various poses in yoga, in the form of various breathing practices, and so on. Hence, I feel that clinical trials have been eternal since the time of our existence. Clinical trials even go on in other animals as well, but we do not pay attention to that. Let us just give one try to the natural cure or natural healing process. Let us just give an open, warm hug to the knowledge of antiquity, and then see how it helps us to improvise our modern concept of medicine. Thank you very much. Dhanyavada. Have a nice time.